Morning, everyone. I'm Andy Berg, City Engineer for the City of Sioux Falls. I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning for the briefing regarding the 2025 street construction wrap-up. Our street construction program focuses on a combination of preservation, rehabilitation, expansion, and reconstruction projects, maintaining the growth of the city's transportation network, including streets, highways, bridges, and sidewalks. In addition to improving street conditions, traffic flow, and ride quality, projects also typically include utility improvements, traffic signal and timing adjustments, and pedestrian, bicycle, and accessibility improvements. Information on major street projects throughout the city, completed, and as well as those that are ongoing, can all be found on our city's construction webpage with an interactive map at siouxfalls.gov/construction. First, I'm going to share some information on the city's maintenance programs, and then I'm going to turn it over to a couple other speakers to hit on some of the other bigger project highlights. There's two primary programs that the city performs each year, cost-effective measures that help us get a lot of blocks improved. These include the Mill and Overlay Program and the Slurry Seal Program, and these are both related to asphalt streets throughout our city. Mill and Overlay Program is a cost-effective, affordable program that's eco-friendly and a durable solution for repairing streets in our system. It allows us to remove some of the surface deterioration and restore the street to the original profile. During the milling and overlay operation, the city also completes other improvements such as utility spot repairs and also concrete repairs within those mill and overlay areas. While it's less extensive than a street reconstruction project, this program significantly improves the ride quality and extends the life of our roadways. In 2025, the city improved 321 blocks through the Mill and Overlay Program. The other program is the Slurry Seal Program, which is a preventative maintenance treatment designed to extend the life of streets that are still in good shape, and we want to keep them that way. The slurry system consists of a half-inch layer of asphalt oil that includes fine rock and other additives that are applied over the existing asphalt pavement. This mixture fills the small cracks and voids in that street section, preventing water from seeping into the pavement and causing further damage. This process is very quick, many streets reopening to traffic within a few hours of the application. In 2025, the city applied Slurry Seal to 443 blocks throughout the city. In addition to these programs, city crews also repaired over 1,500 potholes from January through the end of October and will continue to do so throughout the remainder of the year. Together, these efforts make the biggest impact on our overall pavement conditions, improving hundreds of blocks each year, while keeping the costs low and the streets in good shape. Now to hit on some of the city project highlights, I'll turn it over to Brad Ludens.
Thank you, Andy. Brad Ludens, Principal Engineer, City of Sioux Falls Public Works. The first project I'd like to touch on today is 12th Street from Ellis Road to Marion Road. Work on that project began this summer and included accessible curb ramp replacement, curb repairs, traffic signal upgrades, and an asphalt overlay, which was much needed on that section of roadway. It was in pretty rough shape and will improve the ride quality for several years to come. The next project I want to touch on is a bridge preservation project that we have on North Drive. This project is funded in part by a bridge improvement grant from the South Dakota Department of Transportation. These grants are a way for local governments to analyze, preserve, rehabilitate, and reconstruct bridges on local roadways. The DOT provides about 80% of the funding for those grants, and the city provides the remaining 20% of the funding. The two bridges on North Drive that are under construction as part of this project are on either side of the state penitentiary. The bridge over the diversion channel received drainage and railing improvements, a new concrete sidewalk, a new asphalt connection to the city's bike trail system from that new sidewalk, a replacement of the approach slabs on both sides of the bridge, and a concrete overlay. And the other bridge over the railroad tracks received some railing improvements, bridge deck repairs, replacement of the joints for the bridge approach, and a polymer chip seal. North Drive remains closed as of today, but is expected to reopen in about 2 to 3 weeks as work on that project wraps up. The next project I'm going to talk about is actually two projects I'll kind of lump together. They're both concrete repair projects that were adjacent to some larger projects going on. So on the public side, they probably assumed they were part of the larger adjacent project, but they were actually separate projects. And those were some concrete repairs on Veterans Parkway between Arrowhead Parkway and 26th Street, and also on Cliff Avenue between I-229 and Tomar Road. These projects consisted of concrete joint and slab repair, curb and gutter repairs, joint resealing, and joint sealing, or joint application of a joint sealer to help protect the joints from future damage. Cliff Avenue also received what we call a diamond grind on the pavement to help improve the ride. It's what that process is just a very fine-tooth, diamond-tipped grinding machine that helps smooth out irregularities in the pavement surface to provide a smoother ride for motorists. Both those projects were completed this summer. Another project I'd like to talk about is Rice Street between Cleveland Avenue and Veterans Parkway. That work happened this fall and consisted of an asphalt mill and overlay on the existing surface to, again, improve the ride quality and extend the life of the pavement. You may have noticed if you've driven out there that after the project was completed, some of the lanes were reconfigured and shoulders were widened to provide enhanced bicycle accessibility and safety along that corridor. Another project to improve pedestrian safety was some ADA improvements on 41st Street between Westport Avenue and Western Avenue, and along Minnesota Avenue between 11th Street and 18th Street. That project included sidewalk and driveway improvements and curb and gutter repairs to help provide better pedestrian accessibility along those corridors. The last project I want to touch on today is the Arrowhead Parkway and Veterans Parkway intersection reconstruction project. Work in 2025 was focused on the east half of that project, so essentially from Veterans Parkway east to 10th Street. Work that was completed in 2025 included the underground utilities on the east half of the project, which included water main, storm drainage piping and structures, and some very deep sanitary sewer. There's a large retaining wall on the east end of the project. The pedestrian underpass underneath of Arrowhead Parkway was completed, as well as the east half of the two pedestrian underpasses that will eventually go all the way underneath of Veterans Parkway after the project's complete. The concrete paving is complete from 10th Street to just east of Veterans Parkway, along with a lot of the adjacent sidewalk along that segment. The bike trail along Veterans Parkway has been repaved, and there is a temporary asphalt transition that was finished up late last week that will transition the roadway from the Veterans Parkway intersection down to the new concrete pavement going east. And the reason for that transition is because the new pavement in the intersection is about 4 to 5 feet lower than what the existing pavement elevation is. So we expect that Arrowhead Parkway will open up to one lane of traffic in each direction for the winter here in another 2 to 3 weeks. And then work will resume next spring. We'll have another 5 to 6 week closure on that east leg of Arrowhead Parkway so we can complete the pavement work on the east half of the intersection. Then after that work is complete and reopened, then we will close the west half of the intersection from Arrowhead Parkway going west to Highline Avenue. And then that will remain closed for the duration of 2026 construction season. So with that, I'll hand it off to Kirk Henderson from the Department of Transportation. We'll talk about some of the joint city and DOT projects happening.
Thank you, Brad. Good morning. My name is Kirk Henderson. I'm a highway construction project engineering supervisor for the South Dakota Department of Transportation. And today I'm just going to give a brief overview of 3 of the projects that we partnered with the City of Sioux Falls on this year. The first is South Veterans Parkway. This is a multi-year project being built in partnership with the City of Sioux Falls and the South Dakota DOT. In 2025, construction mainly focused on the segment between Cliff Avenue and Sycamore Avenue. Some key milestones that were completed this year were underground utility installation and grading work. Bridge construction over the railroad tracks is currently underway, and Sycamore and Southeastern Avenue will be opened as gravel roads over the winter until construction begins again this spring, where paving will be completed. The next project I'd like to talk about is Interstate 229 and Cliff Avenue. Work continues on this reconstruction of the interchange, with work on the north half being nearly complete this year. The goals of the reconstruction work of this interchange included improved traffic flow and safety, addressing geometric deficiencies such as uneven road surfaces, short turn lanes, and limited sight distances. We also plan to replace the deteriorating pavement and improve connectivity for non-vehicle users like bicyclists and pedestrians with the addition of pedestrian tunnels. In 2026, traffic on I-229 will be shifted to the southbound lanes to allow for the reconstruction of the northbound lanes. Cliff Avenue will be closed on I-229, will be closed south of I-229 for the 2026 construction season. Final completion of I-229 and the Cliff is expected to be in the summer of 2027. Once finished, the interchange will feature wider, longer, and more efficient on and off ramps, and a realignment of 41st Street and Cliff Avenue, which was completed earlier this summer, and that'll help reduce congestion and improve visibility. The last project I would like to talk about is Interstate 29 and 85th Street. The scope of this work includes constructing a brand-new interchange at 85th Street, underground utility installation, a pedestrian underpass, grading, concrete surfacing, street lighting, and traffic signals. To prepare for this interchange, improvements were already made on 85th Street from Sundowner Avenue to Heritage Parkway. Work on this project consisted of the installation of storm sewer, sanitary sewer, and water main, along with paving to expand 85th Street west of I-29 with the construction of a roundabout at 85th Street and Heritage Parkway. The bid for this project was on October 15th, and construction for this multi-year project is anticipated to begin either late this fall or early in 2026. Weather permitting, and is expected to reach completion in the fall of 2027, and traffic on I-29 will remain in place during construction. I'll now pass it back over to Andy for some final comments.
All right. Thanks, Brad and Kirk. To close, we want to take a moment to thank everyone for another successful street construction season. Our teams, along with the DOT and our contractors, did a great job keeping the projects moving on schedule and wrapping up several of them, and then getting those that are multi-year in a place where we're ready to go for the winter season. I also want to thank our residents and our visitors for their patience, taking extra care while they're in those construction zones, slowing down, giving themselves more time. This helps keep our crews safe. Maintaining and improving the transportation network is a critical part of what the Public Works team does, and we're proud of the work that we do to keep the city moving and improving the traffic throughout the cities, making it safe and efficient for all of our commuters. With that, open it up to any questions folks have.
On 229, if I'm thinking about this right, it will, once both the Minnesota and the Cliff interchanges are done, which are still years down the road, that's going to be basically 3 full lanes in both directions from like 10th to Western. Is that correct?
From 10th to Western, 3 full lanes in each direction.
3 lanes on both the Minnesota Bridge and the Cliff Bridge. And when you come off, maybe from 26th, you come on, there'll be 3 lanes there. It'll be 3 lanes over the bridge, 3 lanes over the bridge, 3 lanes all the way to Western, right?
There'll be, I think there's some planned work. I think that's correct. There is some planned work between 26th Street and 10th Street coming up, probably around in the next 5-ish years to add, to widen that section from 26th up to 10th. So there's going to be some work at bridges on 12th Street crossing and I think 18th Street crossings there. And so, but yeah, I think there are 3 lanes in both directions
So
from in that stretch. Yep.
The vision for 229 is 6-lane freeway, essentially. Is there any thought at this point to dropping the speed limits there? It seems like speed on the interstates in the city, whether it's 29 or 229, is becoming an issue. Obviously, we brought in more highway patrolmen, but do you think that speed limit there should be lower than 65?
I would have to have the DOT and the Highway Patrol weigh in on that one as well, I guess. Certainly, we do track, our traffic team along with DOT tracks all those accidents that do occur and the speeds. The speed data is available that they work with the DOT on. I don't have an answer for whether we would support that or not, but it's certainly something that our teams are looking at because, you know, yeah, there are crashes on that corridor, and whether it's a reduction in speed or improvements to the design to try and help that, you know, having auxiliary lanes where people aren't having to blend in with the oncoming ramp traffic can help some of those things as well, but. Yeah, without having the DOT and Highway Patrol weigh in on that, I guess I can't answer that for sure.
And then one kind of minor point. You said the paving on Southeastern and Sycamore.
Yep.
So are those going to be paved then? They're gravel now. I think Sycamore's closed, but they're going to be paved all the way to Harrisburg, or?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just filling the gap between Veterans Parkway and 69th Street, I suppose, where the pavement is currently at. And so from south of 69th Street where they're gravel now, they'll remain gravel through the winter, and then with the Veterans Parkway project, pavement will be brought down to the Veterans Parkway intersection.
That makes sense.
I was just curious what is you said like the construction season, what months does that like actually run through, or like the set time, I guess, frame? Is there?
Certainly, the season is weather dependent to some degree. I would say generally it's March through November. If March isn't a tough one, April to April to November is pretty safe bet. But crews will, you know, anything we can do through the winter with dirt work, those type of things, we'll keep doing that. But yeah, as far as putting asphalt and concrete down, those are probably more in that April to November timeframe.
And then just like specifically like for the Sioux Falls construction projects, how many like were actually completed? Are there any that are actually all the way done, or is kind of work kind of still ongoing for all of those a little bit?
I would say there are several projects that have been completed. You know, we referenced some of our mill and overlays, 12th Street, Rice Street. The 2-year projects that continue are just, those big ones we highlighted. Several utility projects are still ongoing as well, but most street projects outside of the large ones like Arrowhead and Veterans, I-229 and Cliff, coming up with 85th and 29. Outside of those, most of them are usually one construction season. So, yep.
So with these multi-year construction projects like Veterans Parkway, where are we really expected to pick up here in 2026 for a lot of these multi-year projects?
When?
Or, excuse me, what are we expected to pick up with, I should say? What projects still have yet to be finished? What are we going to be, for example, the Arrowhead Parkway, Veterans Parkway intersection, what's that going to be picking up in 2026 with here?
So for that one specifically, you know, we would be, as soon as weather conditions allow, which is probably in that late March, early April, we'll be closing the east-west single-lane traffic that we opened up during the winter. We'll be closing that back off, completing that pavement, and that's hopefully in like a 5 to 6 week window. And so then maybe end of May-ish, we'll be able to open that east half up, and then we'll close the west half. And that will be basically closed through the end of the construction season, but we anticipate full completion and open to traffic by the end of '26 for that intersection. And similar to 229 and Cliff, that multi-year project, will get traffic moving through the winter, and then they'll be primarily driving on those southbound lanes, which are on the north side of that interchange. The southbound lanes will be open to traffic, head-to-head, two-lane traffic in each direction. And then the south bridges, which are the northbound, those will be closed. The temporary bridge will be moved over the winter over to the Minnesota Avenue interchange, and then all the work on the south side of that interchange will be completed in '26, with anticipation of opening that back up to traffic at the end of next year.
The slurry application, has that fully replaced the chip sealing with the quartzite? Or do you still do the old stuff?
Wes, do you want to speak to that, or? I mean, we don't do any chip sealing in town anymore, so I guess whether it's replaced it, it's a newer technology, and that we've chosen to fully utilize instead of the chip seal. So yes, I guess it has replaced it as of what we feel is a better product.
And it's less messy.
There's less need to go back and sweep up the chips that haven't adhered to the surface. Yep.
And one final thing, you know, the white stuff that you use downtown to fill holes and cracks for a while, a lot of it's still there. Is that, I know it's a rather specific product, but is it something that you see is still going to work?
Do you know? Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. Wes Phillips with our engineering team can speak to that one.
Yeah, I believe you're referring to the Techcrete that we installed on the concrete streets. That's like a masticky project or product that gets heated up really hot and then dumped in the holes. And we find that that's really good in specific circumstances where the road is not too bad, but we do see more of that pop out than we would like. So we're really careful to use that in the right spots. It does last longer, but it's very expensive, and the process for cleaning out the holes is pretty detailed, and if you don't get it right, then they pop out. So I would say we're definitely still using Techcrete. You're just finding the right spots for it.
And finally, somebody want to go to the fact that we have streets of gold? We have the best streets in the country. I mean, everybody complains about the roads, but they're pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean, our PCI score.
Yeah, our goal is to maintain a 70 PCI score. We were a few points above that this last survey. We were pretty excited about that. Due to the street departments and our contractors are really doing some good work, and we're investing solidly in our maintenance programs, which is really what keeps that score up, because if you can get 300 blocks of a mill and overlay done, you're increasing that score a lot more than just reconstructing one small block. So it's definitely indicating we're investing in the maintenance very strongly as well.